Do governments have the right to give waivers to important patents when it comes to human life, when it comes to the potential to save life? Hey everybody, this is Ruvain Spolter from Kitah, and today I thought I would share with you a thought based on a Gemara that's really right in the Daf Yomi that we're learning right now, but also right from the headlines. Recently, President Biden announced that the United States government would support what's called a patent waiver to allow other companies to mass produce the COVID vaccine and to make it more accessible to people around the world. So this, of course, raised the ire of the pharmaceutical companies and many conservatives that said, what right does the government have to impinge on the private property rights of a company? But I saw an article, a really fascinating article, in Mekor Rishon Musaf, written by a lawyer named David Kurzweill. And David Kurzweill quoted this Gemara, and it was so interesting, I thought I wanted to share it with you, because it brings up a lot of interesting issues, not only regarding the matter itself about patents and property rights and intellectual rights, but also about how do we teach our kids when we come upon stories about Chazal, stories of our sages, that in some ways we find troubling or distressing. So let's go take a look at the story in the Gemara in our Kitah style. You can follow along with me, and then I'll just share with you some of my thoughts about it. So this is from the Gemara Masechet Yuma Daf Pei Dalet Amud Aleph 84a. And what I've done here, hopefully to make it a little bit easier, there's a story about Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan is a Mora sage from the time of the Gemara, and a matronita, a non-Jewish matron. And so what I've done is, in order to make the story clearer, anytime Rabbi Yochanan talks or is in the story, it's in blue. And the matronita, if the matronita is active, then we put it in brown. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan chash b'tzapidna. Rabbi Yochanan got sick with tzapidna. Tzapidna, Rashi says, is an illness that starts in your teeth, goes into your guts, and could be very dangerous. So he got sick. He became ill, and he needed a medical intervention. So Azal, he went, Gaba dehahi matronita. He went to a certain matron, a woman, a non-Jewish woman, who had a cure. She had a private cure. Obviously, if you paid her money, she would prepare the cure for you, and you would go on your way. You'd be healed. She had the recipe for the medicine. In our language, she had the recipe, she had the intellectual knowledge for the vaccine. Avdele milta chamsha umale shabta. So she went and made for him milta. She made for him a cure or a medicine on chamsha, from the word chamishi, on Thursday, umale shabta, on Friday. So meaning he went to her twice in a row, and he paid her, and she made him the medicine. All is well. Amarle, so on Friday, Amarle, he said to her, B'Shabbat mai, what's going to happen on Shabbat? Amrale, she said to him, yeah, you're okay, you don't need it, you're fine. So he said to her, Imatzrichina mai, what if I do need it? I'm not going to be able to come on Shabbat. I don't travel to you, I can't pay you, what am I supposed to do? Meaning what he was saying to her is, tell me how to make it so I can make it for myself. Amrale, and she said to him, Ishtavali delo migalet. Okay, I'll tell you how to make it as long as you swear to me, Rabbi Yochanan, that you will not reveal this the recipe to other people. Ishtava, he took the following oath: Le'elaha di Yisrael lo megalena. To the God of Israel, lo megalena, I will not swear. We'll come back to this in a second. And then, of course, she gave him the recipe, and says the Gemara, nafak, he went out, drasha b'pirka. And in his Shabbat speech, pirka is like the perek. In the Shabbat speech, that next day, he went to Shabbat and he said, guys, I've got the recipe for the antidote. Here it is. And he told everybody in his Shabbat drasha in front of the whole community. Says on the one hand, it's very troubling. Says the Gemara. The Gemara says, what? This is the Gemara. V'ha'ishtavala. He swore to her that he wouldn't tell her. So he lied. How could he lie? So the Gemara says, he gets off on a technicality. What was the oath that he took? Le'elaha di Yisrael. To the God of Israel, lo megalena, I will not reveal. Meaning you could understand it one of two ways. You could say, I swear to the God of Israel that I won't reveal it. But he said, no. What he swore was, I will not reveal it to the God of Israel. But le'amo Yisrael, to God's nation of Israel, magalina, I will reveal it. Meaning, Rabbi Yochanan used a play on words. He said something in the way that she would understand it one way, where he wasn't saying, in the end, he was really saying, I will reveal it. So the Gemara says, V'ha'ika chilul Hashem. But it's a desecration of God's name. You have a sage who swore he wouldn't reveal it, and now he is revealing it. Says the Gemara, Dimigale la meikara. No, before he went and revealed it, after she told him, he then revealed to her, he told her, yeah, I'm going to tell everyone. I'm sorry, I'm not keeping it secret. So this Gemara, we're going to stop. So we have a story that on the one is troubling. The Gemara itself is troubled. You have a sage that goes and you wouldn't say coerces, he convinces a person to give him private information, proprietary information about a medicine to save human life. He swears that he won't reveal it. She reveals the patent to him on the condition that he won't reveal it, and then he goes and reveals it. And how does he convince her to do it? By making an oath in which he intentionally misleads her. The Gemara says this in order to get her to divulge the information. So there are two aspects of this issue, two aspects that I'd like to talk about the issue. The first one is the ethical issue. So Mr. Kurzweill, in his article, he talks about the idea of intellectual property. And he suggests that Rabbi Yochanan felt that this woman, this matron, didn't have the right. She had discovered a cure. But what right does she have to withhold the cure from the public in order that they should pay her its information? That information belongs to the world. And by the way, this is something that in the West, in capitalist society in the West, is not really considered very popular. But we have to understand, we're going back many, many, many centuries. Wasn't a given. It could have been that in Roman times, especially after Greek philosophers, they believed that a person doesn't have the right ethically to withhold information that belonged to the public, that could save human life. So this woman, by not revealing her information, was in essence harming others when he had the ability to save her. So it really raises really interesting issues if you talk about it with your children or your students. I had a great discussion with my kids about it on Shabbat. What do you do with this? Did the woman have the right to withhold this information, to keep the recipe to herself? Or did she have the obligation to share the medicine that she knew could save lives with the public at large? That's issue number one. The second issue, though, is one of how do we relate to sages? Kids will see this story and it's very disturbing to them, truly troubling to them. How could a great rabbi, such as Rabbi Yochanan, a famous rabbi in the Gemara, act in a way that was so misleading? And it's indeed troubling. Even for, as a teacher, for myself, a student of the Talmud, the Gemara itself is wonders about this. And the answer the Gemara gives, it's not that convincing. Well, he told her, he didn't really technically lie to her, but he did in essence. He convinced her, he told her a mistruth in order to convince her to divulge information. And the answer I would suggest that we give is one of, on the one hand, questioning, but reverence. Meaning, we understand that Rabbi Yochanan was a great sage in the Talmud. He was a great rabbinic leader. We have trust that our sages and our rabbis, when they take action, they do so, and he was aware of the ethical issues. He understood it, but obviously felt that in this case, the gain, the benefit of saving human life outweighed the potential of misleading this woman, of creating a misleading, saying something in a way that would mislead her. So we could say on the one hand, yes, we find it today troubling and difficult, but on the other hand, we can say, I have reverence, I have respect for Rabbi Yochanan and the sages of the Talmud, that even if I don't understand how he did what he did, if I have trouble with it, I can nonetheless maintain that sense of reverence and deference and respect. And that's a hard line to teach children about. On the one hand, you don't have to accept everything that every rabbi says, but at the same time maintain a stance of respect, of kavod, that's so necessary for us to have with regard to the sages of Israel, with our chachamim and our rabbanim. All right, that's some thoughts I have that are so relevant today. A sugya that's right out of the Daf Yomi, the Gemara we're learning now, that's relevant to the issues of our time. Make it a great day.